Hello guys, welcome to our channel Senpai Same. For this video, we will continue for the chapter 1 of Solo Leveling, the E-Rank Hunter. If you haven't watched our previous video, you can find the link in the description below. And before we will start, this video contains spoilers ahead, from the anime and manga series. You can stop watching the video if you don't want to be spoiled. And if you continue, additional disclaimer notice. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to get notification for upcoming videos. Without further ado, let's get started. There is a boy named Sung Jin Woo and he is a rank E hunter. No matter where he went, this title always followed him around. Jin Woo's overall strength was almost the same as a regular human being. With the exception of being a bit stronger and his wounds healing slightly faster, Jin Woo was about the same as regular people in every other aspect. It was par for the course then, that he'd always end up getting injured. He nearly died several times too. Of course, it wasn't as if Sung Jin Woo liked being a hunter. The work was dangerous, and others made fun of him, and to confound the matters even further, the pay was pretty pathetic as well. If it weren't for the medical aid paid out by the Hunter Association to the hunters in their payroll, he'd have turned in his hunter license and quit by now, and live his life like a regular person. Unfortunately, someone like Sung Jin Woo, in his mid-20s and lacking in any tangible job skills, there was no other way but to remain as a hunter if he wanted to pay for his mother's hospital fee of millions of won every month. Should one say that he had no choice in the matter? That was why, even though he didn't want to, he simply had to participate in the raid supervised by the association. Hunters operating within the same area tended to know each other pretty well. In the event of a gate opening up, all the hunters in that district would be asked to come. That's why. The hunters who had arrived early sipped on the cups of coffee handed out by the association's employee and shared cordial greetings with each other.
Oh hey! Mr. Kim over here.
Oh? Mr. Park, what are you doing here? I thought you were giving up on being a hunter.
Well, my wife is pregnant with our second child.
Is that so? Yeah, for a hunter to earn big in one go, participating in a raid is the best, isn't it?
Mr. Kim jovially burst out in laughter. Mr. Park followed suit with a sheepish chuckle before asking Kim,
By the way, why do I feel like that the association is calling on us less and less nowadays? Did the number of gates decrease or something? Various guilds are jumping in with both feet since there is big profit involved in this whole thing. Well, in that case, since this raid is being supervised by the association, it should be safe, right?
Mr. Park took a glance around as if he was getting nervous. If a guild was not involved today, that meant there wasn't enough profit to be had, and if there wasn't enough profit to be had, then that could only mean that this particular gate's difficulty would be low. Of course, nothing in this world was 100% absolute. It wasn't just Mr. Park. Other hunters were nervously glancing around as well.
I wonder.
Mr. Kim finished the rest of his coffee while avoiding answering his friend, before spotting a certain someone and raised his hand in happiness.
He's here. Hey, Mr. Song. Mr. Song.
Other hunters also displayed joy at discovering that young man.
Hello.
It was none other than Sung Jin Woo. Jin Woo performed a simple nod of the head at the joyous Mr. Kim and walked by. After making sure Jin Woo was well out of earshot, Mr. Kim began sniggering while confidently speaking up.
So, Jin Woo showed up. Then it's going to be okay today, too.
Mr. Park's eyes widened up and he hurriedly asked Kim.
What was that? Is that hunter Sung Jin Woo really strong?
Right, of course, you wouldn't know who he is. He's a hunter who started working shortly after you left, you see. However, every hunter here knows who that kid is by now.
He's really that strong? Wait, why is he working for the association then? Why not for a guild or as a freelancer?
Kim sniggered some more before narrowing his eyes.
You know what that guy's nickname is?
How should I know that? Come on, man, just tell me already.
His nickname is the weakest of all mankind.
Weakest? Not something like the ultimate weapon. Why would other hunters greet this Song Jinwoo if he was really that weak? After all, didn't they need someone to trust their backs if things went south?
The raid Song Jinwoo participates in will only have low difficulty because he's so weak. The association would never entrust him with a tough job, don't you get that? They don't want to see him get killed, alright?
Only then did Park's expression brighten up.
Alright. Yeah.
His wife was deeply worried about him since this would be his first raid in quite a while. Honestly, even he himself was worried, too. However, now that he listened to Kim's words, he felt like a weight was lifted off his mind. Kim continued on.
That guy, there was a rumor not too long ago that said, he got injured participating in a raid of a rank E gate and spent a week in the hospital.
A hunter got injured by a rank E gate?
That's right. No one expected to see a hunter getting injured during a rank E gate raid, so they didn't even bring along a healer.
That's why he spent a week in a hospital. Ha ha ha.
When Park began guffawing too loudly, Kim hurriedly hushed him.
Stop it, man, Mr. Song might hear you.
Oh, sorry. I didn't think of that.
Park cautiously checked Jinwoo's reactions as he continued to giggle. Thankfully, the distance was far enough and the youth didn't seem to have heard them. Of course, they were mistaken.
I can hear everything, you geezers.
A bitter smile formed on Jinwoo as he tried hard to ignore them. At times like today, he couldn't help but blame his unusually acute sense of hearing. It seemed that he arrived too early and the raid was yet to commence. Jinwoo looked around while waiting, and he spotted the association employee handing out warm coffee, and walked closer.
Oh. Song Jinwoo Hunter Nim, I'm really sorry, but we ran out of coffee just now.
The cold winter breeze brushed past the tip of his nose. Jinwoo quietly wiped his nose with his index finger. What a sad day it was, for the coffee to run out as soon as it was his turn to get one. Suddenly a girl named Lee Ju-hui came and shouted Jinwoo.
Jinwoo. You're hurt again? Why do you persist on being a hunter, Song Jinwoo?
I'm sorry.
Jinwoo lowered his head and apologized. The young, beautiful girl using healing magic in front of Jinwoo, Lee Ju-hui showed how unhappy she was with a pouting expression.
I'm not trying to get you to apologize, you know? I'm only worried about you. If you continue fighting this way, sooner or later you'll be faced with a truly dangerous situation.
Jinwoo glanced past Lee Ju-hui's shoulders and took a look at other hunters fighting over yonder. When one entered through the gate, one would arrive at a place called dungeon. The rank of this particular dungeon should be around D. A dozen plus hunters were taking care of the monsters inside this dungeon without so much as breaking a sweat. Unfortunately, for a rank E, such a feat was nearly impossible. Normally, the job of healing the injured hunters from the back fell on the healers. Since he always got injured during raids, Jinwoo was rather well known among the healers. Lee Ju-hui cautiously asked him.
Perchance, is there a reason why you can't give up being a hunter?
Jinwoo resolutely shook his head. He didn't want to reveal anything personal to other people.
I'm only doing this as a hobby. If I don't do this, I'll probably die of boredom, actually.
If you continue on with this hobby of yours, soon you'd be raiding a dungeon in the netherworld, you know?
Where did you even learn to say stuff like that?
What do you mean, where? It's from Mr. Kim away over there.
That Ajusi really went and did it, didn't he?
As they chatted and laughed, his treatment was almost over. It was already too late by then, though. It seemed that the raid was pretty much over now. Jinwoo's expression hardened.
I only killed a single monster today.
A rank E creature, no less. Song Jinwoo began fidgeting with the rank E magic crystal in his hand. The lowest grade magic crystal from a rank E monster fetched less than 100,000 won. For something he bet his life to earn, it was a pathetically small amount. Out of the blue, someone shouted out.
Hey, there's another entrance over here.
The nearby hunters rushed over there. Just as that hunter said, there was an entrance hidden within the dungeon itself. A dual dungeon. One of the hunter named Mr. Song said.
I can't believe it, this dungeon is a dual dungeon, so such a thing actually exists for real.
Mr. Song, possessing over 10 years' experience as a hunter, looked into the hidden entrance and displayed how surprised he was. The interior of the hidden cave-like passage was dark and nothing could be seen. Mr. Song activated his specialty, flame magic, and tossed it further forward into the passage. The flame flew forward and illuminated the interior. The passageway seemed to go on forever. Soon enough, the flame lost its forward momentum, fell to the ground and smoldered for a bit before flickering out of existence. The passage was shrouded in darkness once more.
Everyone, gather around. Let's have a meeting. As you know very well, a gate will not close unless the dungeon's boss is killed. Since the gate itself is still intact even though we took care of all the monsters here, that can only mean that the boss is beyond that passageway.
Song pointed towards the hidden entrance. Hunters exchanged meaningful glances and nodded their heads. No one could disagree with that notion. Song continued on.
Now normally, we're supposed to relay this information back to the association and wait for their decision first, but, if we do that, we might end up handing over the task of killing the boss to other hunters, and our takings for today's raid would decrease by a lot.
The expressions of the hunters crumpled. Park's face hardened more than anyone else since he needed a lot of cash for his wife's pregnancy.
Postnatal care eats up so much cash nowadays, you know. At this rate, there'd be no meaning behind risking our life to participate in this raid. That's why I'd prefer if we took care of the boss before leaving this dungeon. So, what do you all think?
Hunters fell into a deep contemplation. The truth was, no one here could figure out the current situation and so, their safety could not be guaranteed. However, the difficulty of this particular dungeon proved to be very low. So, the hidden dungeon within it couldn't have been that difficult either.
Since we have 17 people here, let's put this to a vote, shall we? Once the decision has been made, no one complains. How about it?
Others nodded their heads after hearing Song's suggestion. No one was disagreeing with him.
I vote for going ahead.
Song raised his hand. And then, other hunters began raising their hands one by one.
Count me in as well.
Park was the first to raise his hand, followed shortly after by Kim and a few other hunters. Of course, those disagreeing were plentiful, too. They would like to go back, 'cause they feel that it'd be better to wait for the association's decision. The two opposing camps were neck and neck and eventually, the final votes came down to Jinwoo and Lee Ju-hui.
I'm sorry guys, but I think we need to go back.
Lee Ju-hui bowed to Song and added her vote to retreat camp. And so, the vote count for go ahead and retreat was at 8:8. A deadlock. Song asked the hesitant Song Jinwoo.
And you, Mr. Song? What is your decision?
Everything now depended on Song Jinwoo's decision. Jinwoo's fingers grasped tight the Ranky magic crystal in his hand as he took a glance next to him. Lee Ju-hui looked like she was deeply worried. Actually, Jinwoo was worried inwardly as well. Now normally, he would never try to take on any unnecessary risk. Not only did he lack the abilities to do so, but he was also not brave enough. However, Jinwoo had a younger sister who was about to become a university student in the coming months. Currently, Jinwoo was 24 years old. He was at an age where he should be concentrating on his academic pursuits, but he gave up on that dream because he had no money. He sure as hell didn't want his little sister to go through the same sacrifice, the same pain as he did. Right now, every cent was precious to him. It wasn't only Mr. Park who needed a big score today. Jinwoo raised his hand up high and said,
I vote for going ahead.
"Hello guys. Did you enjoy the video? For now this is where the video ends, and on our next upload we will continue with the chapter 2, the Dual Dungeon. Thank you guys for watching the video with me. That's all for today, and see you all on our next video.